The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched up into darkness, its crystal walls glowing with a soft blue light. Thousands of alien representatives sat in rising tiers that seemed to reach forever upward. Their quiet whispers filled the massive space with a sound like rustling leaves. Admiral James Walker stood alone at the center of the chamber. His crisp blue uniform and straight posture showed no sign of the nervousness he felt inside. 20 years of military service had taught him how to keep a steady face, even when surrounded by beings from over 300 different worlds. So came the echoing voice of High Counselor Bright, his crystalline body shimmering as he spoke. Earth claims to have mastered dimensional travel. A ripple of laughter spread through the chamber. The sound reminded Walker of tinkling glass. "We have made significant progress in understanding dimensional physics," Walker said, his voice clear and strong. "Earth requests full membership in the Galactic Council based on our achievements." The laughter grew louder. A tall, purple-skinned alien in the front row leaned forward, its 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "Your species still uses chemical rockets to reach your own moon," it said. "How dare you claim mastery over dimensions?" Walker pulled out a small device from his pocket. With a press of a button, it projected a large image above the chamber floor. Complex equations and diagrams filled the air with soft blue light. "Our research shows." "Enough." High Counselor Bright's voice boomed through the chamber. His crystalline form pulsed with bright colors. "These are children's drawings compared to real dimensional science. Your species barely understands 4 dimensions, let alone the higher ones." More aliens joined in the mockery. Some pointed their appendages at Walker, while others made sounds that their universal translators converted into words like primitive, simple, and foolish. Walker stood his ground. He thought of the secret facility near Jupiter, of Dr. Mills, and her team working day and night. If they only knew what humanity had achieved. But orders were orders. He couldn't reveal their true progress. Not yet. "The Council has standards." Another alien spoke, this one floating in a bubble of green liquid. "We cannot admit species that make false claims. It goes against everything we stand for." High Counselor Bright raised his crystalline arms, bringing silence to the chamber. "However," he said, his voice dripping with amusement, "we are not without mercy. Earth's delegation has shown great courage in coming here today." More laughter followed his words. Walker felt his jaw tighten, but kept his expression neutral. 20 years of facing alien diplomats had taught him patience. He knew humanity's moment would come. "We will give Earth 1 solar cycle," Bright announced. 1 cycle to prove these outlandish claims of dimensional mastery. His crystal form sparkled with what seemed like satisfaction. "If you fail, Earth will be banned from all galactic trade routes for the next 100 cycles." The chamber erupted in approving sounds. Walker noticed how many of the alien representatives were already celebrating, as if Earth's failure was certain. They saw humans as nothing more than clever apes who had stumbled onto spaceflight. "We accept your terms," Walker said firmly, surprising many of the aliens. Some stopped their celebrations to stare at him. 1 solar cycle is more than enough time." Such confidence. High Counselor Bright's form flashed with colors that indicated amusement. "Very well. You may leave now, Admiral Walker of Earth. Go back to your primitive world. We look forward to your demonstration." As Walker turned to leave the chamber, the laughter followed him. But inside, a small smile formed on his lips. "Let them laugh," he thought. His hand touched the communicator in his pocket, eager to contact Dr. Mills. The aliens had just given humanity exactly what they needed, an invitation to show their true power. The chamber doors closed behind him, muffling the sounds of alien amusement. Soon, Walker knew that laughter would stop. And when it did, the galaxy would never be the same again. The massive research facility, Looking Glass, floated silently in Jupiter's shadow, hidden from prying alien eyes. Through the reinforced windows of the main laboratory, the gas giant's swirling storms provided a constant light show of oranges and reds. Dr. Anna Mills stood before a holographic display, her gray hair tied back in a neat bun. Dark circles under her eyes showed the long hours she'd spent working, but there was no tiredness in her movements as she adjusted the complex diagrams floating in the air. Status report. She called out to her team of 20 scientists spread across the laboratory. Each of them worked at different stations, surrounded by equipment that would make even the most advanced alien species stop and stare. Dimension 1 through 4 are stable, reported Tom from his console. His fingers danced across the holographic controls. Basic space-time manipulation is running at full power. Fifth dimension breach holding steady, Lisa added from her station. The machines around her hummed with energy that seemed to bend the very light around them. We can fold space properly now. Sixth dimension calculations are complete, Michael said, his young face lit by the blue glow of his screens. We can successfully move through probability streams. But it was the seventh dimension that kept Dr. Mills awake at night, the one that even the mighty bright ones couldn't understand. Her team had mapped the first 6 dimensions, learning to bend and twist them in ways that defied normal physics. But the seventh, that was different. The door to the lab slid open with a soft hiss. Admiral Walker strode in, still wearing the same uniform he'd worn at the Galactic Council. "Doctor," he said, nodding to Mills. "How's our baby doing?" Mills led him to a massive window overlooking the construction bay. Below them, suspended in a web of energy fields, floated humanity's greatest achievement, the Horizon Breaker. The ship looked like a cross between a sailing vessel and a star, its hull made of materials that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "She's almost ready," Mills said, pressing her hand against the cold glass. "But the seventh dimension is still fighting us. We can touch it, sense it, but we can't control it. Not yet." Walker stood beside her, watching the teams of engineers working on the ship's outer hull. "The Council gave us 1 solar cycle to prove ourselves," he said. "They're expecting us to fail." Mills turned to face him, a small smile playing on her lips. "Did you see their faces? All that advanced technology, and they still can't grasp what we've discovered." She walked back to her main console and pulled up a new set of readings. "They think emotion makes us weak, primitive. They don't understand that it's our greatest strength." The Admiral raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "We found something incredible," Mills explained, expanding a hologram that showed waves of energy pulsing in strange patterns. "Human consciousness generates unique quantum frequencies. Every emotion, every thought, creates ripples in dimensional space. The aliens can't see it because they're too focused on pure mathematics. They've forgotten how to feel." She pressed a button, and a new image appeared. The brain scan of a human pilot merged with dimensional readings. "We're not just traveling through dimensions," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "We're connecting with them. Our emotions, our consciousness, they're the key to the seventh dimension. That's why the aliens can't access it. They don't have what we have." Walker watched the displays with growing understanding. "How long until we can demonstrate this?" 2 weeks, Mills replied confidently. "We've already chosen our test pilot, Captain Ben Stone. He has the strongest emotional resonance with the ship's systems we've ever recorded." The Admiral nodded slowly, then smiled. "The aliens gave us a cycle to prove ourselves. Let's give them a show they'll never forget." As if responding to their words, the Horizon Breaker's hull pulsed with a soft light. In the depths of space, hidden from the galaxy's laughing eyes, humanity's greatest achievement was almost complete. Soon, the entire Galactic Council would learn what happens when you underestimate the power of human emotion. Captain Ben Stone stood in the Horizon Breaker's control room, his hands hovering over the neural interface panels. The room hummed with energy, its walls shifting between colors that human eyes had never seen before. He took deep breaths, preparing himself for another test run. "Neural link activating in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Mills's voice came through the speakers. From her observation room above, she watched the captain's vital signs on multiple screens. Remember, Ben, don't fight the connection. Let your emotions flow naturally. Stone closed his eyes as the neural interface activated. Instantly, his mind expanded beyond the ship's walls. He could feel the first 6 dimensions, like layers of reality stacked on top of each other. Space bent around him. Time became something he could almost touch. But the 7th dimension remained just out of reach, like a word on the tip of his tongue. Emotional resonance at 60%, Lisa reported from her station. Higher than any alien test subject ever recorded, but still not enough for 7th dimensional breach. Stone pushed harder, trying to break through. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The ship's systems responded to his effort, power levels climbing higher and higher. Suddenly, warning alarms blared through the facility. "Shut it down," Mills ordered. "Neural connection overloading." The systems powered down, and Stone slumped in his chair, exhausted. It was his 5th failed attempt of the day. Mills rushed into the control room, checking his vital signs personally. "I'm fine," he assured her, though his hand shook slightly. "Just tired. Whatever's blocking us from the 7th dimension, it's strong." Mills helped him up, her face showing both concern and determination. "Take a break, Captain. We'll try again tomorrow." But as Stone left the control room, Mills didn't follow. Instead, she stood looking at the neural interface panels, lost in thought. Something was missing. Something obvious. Hours passed. The facility grew quiet as most of the staff went to their quarters for rest. Mills remained in the control room, surrounded by holographic displays showing test data from every attempt they'd made. "You should get some sleep," Tom said, bringing her a cup of coffee. "We've only got 10 days left before the demonstration." Mills took the coffee but didn't drink it. She was staring at 2 displays, one showing Stone's emotional readings during the test, another showing the dimensional barriers they'd encountered. "Look at this," she said suddenly, setting down the untouched coffee. Her fingers flew across the controls, overlaying the 2 readings. "Every time we try to breach the 7th dimension, we're focusing on single emotional states. Determination, courage, focus." Tom nodded. "Those are the emotions we thought would be strongest." "But that's not how humans work," Mills said, her voice rising with excitement. "We don't feel one emotion at a time. We feel everything at once." She pulled up recordings from Stone's earlier attempts. Look, his strongest resonance peaks weren't when he was focusing hardest. They were when he let his guard down, when he let himself feel everything. She rushed to another console, typing rapidly. "The aliens think we're primitive because we can't control our emotions like they do. But that's exactly why we can do what they can't. Our messy, complicated feelings. They're not a weakness. They're a key." Tom watched as she pulled up new simulation models. "You mean?" "We've been trying to force our way through with controlled emotions," Mills explained, her own excitement making the nearby sensors spike. "But the 7th dimension doesn't respond to control. It responds to chaos. The beautiful chaos of human feelings." She hit a final button, and the simulation came to life. It showed a perfect 7th dimensional breach, achieved not through focused emotional control, but through the natural, swirling storm of human feelings. "Get Stone back here," Mills ordered, already reconfiguring the neural interface, "and call Admiral Walker. Tell him the Bright Ones were right about one thing. We are primitive. We're gloriously, perfectly primitive. And that's exactly why we're going to succeed where they failed." As Tom rushed to make the calls, Mills looked up at the horizon breaker through the control room window. For the first time, she didn't see it as just a ship. She saw it as a reflection of humanity itself, complex, messy, and more powerful than any alien race could imagine. The breakthrough they needed hadn't come from trying to be more like the aliens. It had come from embracing what made them human. The launch bay of Looking Glass Station buzzed with activity. Engineers made final checks on the Horizon Breaker's systems, while medical teams prepared Captain Stone for the most important flight in human history. The ship's hull rippled with strange energies, reflecting the excitement of the crew around it. Admiral Walker stood with Dr. Mills in the command center, watching the preparations through the reinforced windows. "The Galactic Council's Grand Assembly starts in 6 hours," he said, checking his watch. "Every major species will be there. Are you absolutely sure about this?" Mills nodded, her eyes fixed on the ship below. "After the breakthrough, we've achieved stable 7th-dimensional breaches in all 3 test runs. Stone's emotional resonance is perfect now that we've stopped trying to control it." Down in the medical bay, Stone lay back as technicians attached neural sensors to his temples. Unlike previous tests, he felt completely calm. "No more fighting it," he whispered to himself. "Just feel everything." "Captain," a young technician said, handing him a small photo. It showed Stone with his family back on Earth, his wife, 2 children, and their dog playing in a sunny backyard. "Dr. Mills said you should keep this with you during the flight." Stone smiled, understanding immediately. The photo wasn't just a reminder of home. It was a trigger for the complex web of emotions they needed. Love, pride, hope, worry, joy, and just a touch of fear. The perfect emotional storm. "Launch sequence starting in 30 minutes, announced the station's eye. The word sent a ripple of nervous energy through the entire facility. In the ship's engine room, Tom and Lisa ran final checks on the dimensional drive. The machine looked impossible, a sphere of shifting metal and energy, responding to the emotions of everyone around it. "Primary dimensional gates stable," Lisa reported. "First through 6th dimensions are ready for breach." "7th dimension resonance chamber powered up," Tom added. "It's responding even better than in the tests." Admiral Walker's voice came through the station speakers. "Remember everyone, this isn't just a demonstration. This is humanity's moment to show the galaxy who we really are. Every laugh, every mockery, every dismissal ends today." Stone walked towards the horizon breaker, now dressed in his flight suit. The neural interface helmet under his arm was lighter than the previous versions, redesigned after Mills' breakthrough. As he passed the observation window, he gave a thumbs up to Mills and Walker. "Good hunting, Captain," Walker said over the comm. "Make them remember this day." The ship's entry hatch opened with a soft hiss. Inside, the control room had been transformed. Gone were the rigid control panels and strict command interfaces. Instead, the walls pulsed with living light, responding to Stone's presence as he sat in the pilot's chair. "Neural interface online," Mills reported as Stone put on his helmet. "Remember, Captain, don't try to control your emotions. Let them flow naturally. The ship will respond better that way." Stone took out the family photo, placing it on the console in front of him. "Ready when you are, Doctor." The launch countdown began. Through the station's windows, Jupiter's massive form provided a dramatic backdrop. The gas giant had hidden their work for months. Now it would witness humanity's greatest achievement. 10 seconds, the AI announced. 9, 8. Stone closed his eyes, letting his mind merge with the ship's systems. He felt everything: excitement, fear, pride, determination, love, hope, all swirling together like a beautiful storm. 3, 2, 1. The horizon breaker's hull blazed with light. Reality seemed to bend around it as the dimensional drive activated. Stone felt the first 6 dimensions open like familiar doors. But this time, something else waited beyond them. The mysterious 7th dimension, responding to the chaos of his emotions. "Launch," Walker commanded. The ship lifted off, surrounded by an aura of impossible colors. In the control room, Mills watched her displays with tears in her eyes. Every reading was perfect. "Good luck, Captain," she whispered as the horizon breaker prepared to jump. "Show them what humanity can do." With a flash that seemed to bend time itself, the ship vanished. In a few moments, it would appear at the Galactic Council's Grand Assembly. And when it did, the laughter would finally stop. The Galactic Council's Grand Assembly Hall was packed with representatives from over 1,000 worlds. High Counselor Bright stood at the central podium, his crystalline form glowing with smug satisfaction as he prepared to formally reject Earth's membership. "Let it be recorded," he announced, his voice echoing through the massive chamber, "that the species known as humans have failed to demonstrate their claimed mastery of dimensional travel. As such, their application for council membership is hereby." He never finished the sentence. The air in the center of the chamber suddenly rippled like water. Colors that had no names in any alien language flashed through the space. The assembled representatives fell silent, their various sensor devices screaming with impossible readings. The horizon breaker appeared, but not in the way ships usually appeared. It existed in multiple places at once, its hull shifting through different realities as Captain Stone guided it through dimensions that the aliens had never mastered. "Impossible," whispered High Counselor Bright, his crystalline form dulling with shock. Inside the ship, Stone felt everything. The neural interface showed him realities that no human eyes had ever seen. He could feel the seventh dimension now, responding to the complex storm of emotions inside him. Pride at humanity's achievement, joy at seeing the aliens' shocked faces, love for his family back home. All of it mixing together, powering the ship in ways that pure logic never could. "Security," shouted one of the council members. "Stop that vessel." Defense ships appeared around the chamber, their weapons charged. But Stone just smiled. He looked at his family's photo and let a new emotion join the mix. Amusement. The horizon breaker shifted, existing in 7 different places at once. The defense ships fired, but their weapons passed through empty space. The human vessel was everywhere and nowhere, dancing through dimensional planes that their sensors couldn't even detect. "By the ancient stars," gasped an alien scientist, their 4 eyes wide with disbelief. "They're not just moving through space-time. They're moving through reality itself." Stone guided the ship in a complex pattern. With each movement, the horizon breaker demonstrated abilities that shattered the aliens' understanding of physics. It moved backward through time, leaving after images that arrived before the ship itself. It existed in multiple probability streams, showing paths that might have been and paths that could be. And through it all, the ship's hull pulsed with colors that reflected Stone's emotions, creating patterns that made several alien mathematicians faint from shock. High Counselor Bright stumbled backward. "How?" he demanded. "Your species, your primitives, your emotions make you unstable, unreliable." Admiral Walker's voice boomed through the chamber's communication systems. "Those emotions you mock, they're exactly what makes this possible. Your logical, controlled approach to dimensional science missed something crucial: the power of human consciousness itself." The horizon breaker finally settled in the center of the chamber, but it didn't quite stop moving. Reality seemed to bend around it, responding to Stone's emotional state like waves responding to wind. "What you're seeing," Walker continued, "is humanity's gift to the galaxy. We don't just travel through dimensions. We connect with them. We feel them. Your mighty ships can punch holes through space-time, but ours dances with reality itself." The chamber erupted in chaos. Some representatives were shouting for immediate trade agreements with Earth. Others were frantically recording every detail of the ship's performance. A few were simply staring, their various biological and mechanical sensory organs trying to process what they were seeing. Inside the horizon breaker, Stone touched the photo of his family one more time. The ship responded instantly, its hull becoming transparent to reveal him sitting calmly in the control room, surrounded by swirling energies that defied explanation. High Counselor Bright's voice had lost all its previous mockery when he spoke again. The Council recognizes humanity's achievement in dimensional science." His crystalline form had dimmed to almost complete transparency. "Though it seems we have much to learn about what true advancement means." The laughter that had once filled these chambers was gone, replaced by a silence full of awe and realization. Humanity hadn't just proven themselves equal to the galaxy's greatest civilizations. They had surpassed them. The days following the Horizon Breakers demonstration brought chaos to the Galactic Council. The Grand Assembly Hall, usually a place of order and ceremony, had become a storm of activity. Hundreds of alien representatives crowded around Earth's newly established delegation office, all trying to secure meetings. Admiral Walker sat behind his new desk, which overlooked the same chamber where the aliens had laughed at him just days ago. On his desk, a holographic display showed over 3,000 requests for technological partnerships with Earth. Another research delegation from the Bright Ones, his assistant reported, adding to the growing list. They're offering access to all their dimensional research in exchange for just 1 hour with the Horizon Breaker. Walker smiled but shook his head. Tell them the same thing we've told everyone else. All technological exchanges will be handled through proper channels once Earth's full membership is processed. In the chamber below, Captain Stone had become something of a celebrity. Alien scientists followed him everywhere, their sensors constantly scanning him, trying to understand how his emotions could possibly interact with dimensional energy. No, it's not about controlling the feelings, he explained to a group of bewildered alien researchers. It's about letting them flow naturally. That's what you've all missed. Emotions aren't a weakness to be controlled. They're a power to be embraced. Meanwhile, in a secure conference room, Dr. Mills presented her findings to the Council's scientific board. The room was packed with the galaxy's most brilliant minds, all watching in stunned silence as she explained the basic principles of emotional quantum resonance. Your civilization's advanced so far by removing emotion from the equation, Mills said, pointing to her diagrams. But in doing so, you cut yourselves off from the seventh dimension entirely. It's not just about math and physics. It's about connecting with the very fabric of reality. One of the alien scientists, a being of pure energy, moved forward. But emotions are messy, unpredictable. How can you achieve stable dimensional travel with such chaos? Mills laughed softly. Chaos isn't our enemy. Life itself is chaos. The universe is chaos. By accepting that, by feeling it fully, we don't just travel through dimensions. We become part of them. The power shift wasn't just happening in the council chambers. Across the galaxy, news of humanity's achievements spread like wildfire. Species that had once looked down on Earth now scrambled to establish diplomatic relations. Trade offers poured in. Educational institutions begged for human teachers. Back in the Horizon Breaker, which still hovered in the center of the council chamber as a reminder of Earth's achievement, Tom and Lizzo ran maintenance checks, while dozens of alien observers watched in awe. The dimensional resonance is actually getting stronger, Lisa reported, looking at her readings. It's like the ship is learning, growing more connected to human emotions with each passing day. Tom nodded, watching the hull shimmer with colors that reflected the feelings of everyone nearby. Dr. Mills was right. We didn't just build a ship, we created a bridge between consciousness and reality itself. In the highest tower of the council building, High Counselor Bright met with his advisors. His crystalline form had lost much of its former brilliance. We must adapt, he admitted, his voice heavy with humility. For all our advancement, we had become stagnant, set in our ways. The humans have shown us that true progress means being willing to embrace new possibilities, even if they seem primitive at first. As the sun set on the council world, casting rainbow shadows through its crystal spires, Admiral Walker stood at a window in his office, looking out at the endless stars. In his hand, he held a simple earth coffee mug, now probably the most valuable drinking vessel in the chamber, as every alien wanted to study this primitive human custom. Not bad for a bunch of emotional primitives, he muttered to himself, smiling as he watched yet another group of alien scientists desperately scanning the coffee in his mug, trying to understand if human beverages somehow enhanced their dimensional perception. The galaxy was changing. The old power structures were shifting. And humanity, once mocked for their emotional nature, now stood at the forefront of a new age of exploration and discovery. The laughter had stopped, replaced by something far more valuable. respect. 1 year after the Horizon Breaker's historic demonstration, the landscape of galactic civilization had changed completely. Earth's once secret facility near Jupiter had been transformed into the Galactic Academy of Dimensional Sciences, its halls now filled with students from thousands of different worlds. Dr. Mills stood at the front of the main lecture hall, facing a diverse crowd of alien students. Behind her, the Horizon Breaker floated in a special dock, its hull still shimming with the emotional energies of everyone nearby. The first lesson, she said to her eager audience, isn't about mathematics or physics. It's about feeling. She smiled as several crystalline beings, similar to High Counselor Bright, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Yes, even you can learn to feel again. Your species didn't always suppress their emotions. You just forgot how powerful they could be. In another part of the academy, Captain Stone worked with a group of alien pilots in the simulation chamber. The aliens struggled at first, trying to control their long-suppressed feelings. Stop thinking so hard, Stone advised a frustrated energy being whose glow had dimmed after another failed attempt. Remember what you felt when you first saw the Horizon Breaker dance through 7 dimensions. Hold on to that sense of wonder. The energy being pulsed brightly as it remembered, and suddenly, its simulation pod lit up with 7th-dimensional energy. The other aliens watched in amazement as their classmate finally broke through, guided by pure emotion. Admiral Walker, now Earth's High Representative on the Galactic Council, sat in his office reviewing reports from across the galaxy. New ships based on human designs were being built in shipyards everywhere. But more importantly, civilizations were changing. Species that had prided themselves on pure logic were rediscovering their capacity for feeling. Another breakthrough at the academy, his assistant reported excitedly. The Bright One students have successfully generated their first emotional resonance field. They're calling it a feeling renaissance among their people. Walker looked out his window at the massive construction project below. The council headquarters was being rebuilt, its design now incorporating elements that responded to emotional energy. The cold, sterile halls were becoming alive with color and feeling. In the Academy's research wing, Tom and Lisa worked with alien scientists, studying the unexpected side effects of their dimensional breakthrough. Species that learned to embrace their emotions weren't just gaining access to new technology, they were changing fundamentally. The 7th dimension isn't just about travel, Lisa explained to a group of researchers. It's about connection. The more we open ourselves to feeling, the more we understand each other. The barriers between species are breaking down in ways we never expected. She pointed to a display showing the brain patterns of different species. Where there had once been vast differences, now there were surprising similarities. Emotional resonance was creating a new kind of universal language. Back in the main hangar, Dr. Mills and Captain Stone stood watching as the first graduating class prepared their ships for their final test. Each vessel was unique, designed to respond to the particular emotional patterns of its pilot species. "Did you ever imagine this?" Stone asked, holding up his family photo, now framed in material from a dozen different worlds, gifts from grateful students who understood its significance. Mills shook her head. "We thought we were just building a ship. Instead, we started a revolution." She watched as alien pilots ran their pre-flight checks, each one glowing with emotional energy that would have been unthinkable a year ago. "We're not just teaching them to travel through dimensions. We're teaching them to feel alive again." The ships rose one by one, their hulls shimmering with impossible colors. Human instructors watched proudly as their alien students demonstrated perfect emotional resonance, moving their vessels through all 7 dimensions with grace and confidence. In the center of it all, the Horizon Breaker pulsed with energy, responding to the joy and pride filling the hangar. It was more than just humanity's greatest achievement now. It had become a symbol of something greater, the power of embracing what makes us truly alive. The galaxy had changed forever. The old divisions between primitive and advanced had melted away, replaced by a new understanding. In the end, it wasn't humanity's technology that had transformed the galaxy. It was their heart.